This is Weirdboy Being Fired. Let me tell you about him. Happy Orktober.
2nd edition 40k is having a bit of a renaissance at the moment. Two of my favourite channels, Miniscape and Minisodes, are battling it out on and off with 2nd edition rules and models. Blue ceramite-clad space marines clashing with an unruly mob of space orcs. That is where I first laid eyes on him. Look at him, majestic, wizened, green, a perfect weird boy, oozing classic GW charm. I remarked to a friend that it's a shame I'd never own him. Fast forward a month or so and a package arrives. What a surprise, look at this. The only decent thing to do is to paint him and marvel at his old hammer charms. Look at him, perfection cast in lead. Oh, hang on a minute, is he actually lead? This little ominous note, presumably from a weird boy, says it might be. That's right, this miniature is probably lead. Why is that bad, you ask? Let's do a little research and find out if he is a danger to my body as well as my psyche, and what we can do to be safe with an old lump of lead. Well, for a start, I'd take lead poisoning over an AI overview, so let's get rid of that. World Health Organization seems useful, some blogs. You'll be fine, wash your hands, don't put it in your mouth, it's molten fumes, so maybe if you melt it that's the problem, not just owning it. Feels like consumption is mostly the issue here. So it seems like we'll be okay. The Mini doesn't need any cleanup, so we won't have any fine dust or shavings, so I won't put it in my mouth anymore. If I can avoid lead poisoning in the 90s, I'm pretty sure I can avoid it now. To be safe though, we're going to prime this gaggle of orcs a lot, in white.
That was scary.
Before we do that though, first thing I need to find is a base. So let's go on a little journey and see if we can find one in one of my many cupboards.
I reckon if we have a look in here, this is one of my many hidey holes where I've got boxes of stuff. I did a little conversion to one of the Chaos Minis. I replaced his hound with a wolf. There we go. Whoop. Because I wanted all my guys to come out in the snow. See, that's why he's on a snow base. He's very... I've done a Games Workshop paint job on this fella. That's not me at all. That's not my vibe, but he looks alright, doesn't he? And the wolf, yeah. Came in one of these.
I thought I'd fact check myself on this one, and so I did a little bit of digging. Here's the Cyber Wolf. That's a round base. I don't know where this base came from. I don't know why it was in that box. I don't think anything in that box has an oval base. It's a mystery that's going to keep on being a mystery.
There we go. We've got one shot at it. Let's do it right. This is one of those things where I thought if I get all the things I don't want to do out of the way first, the Sigmarines, then maybe I'll do all the other things. But nope, didn't do the other things and I wanted to. Maybe I'll come back to those one day. Let's check this out. This is just a show and tell at this point. The white's awful. Okay, this is everything I need, I think, to mark where we're going, to cut the base. Good luck with that. Some arms, some glue, and some green stuff. Let's do this. This is going to be one eternity later kind of situation. For some reason I felt like I had this. You know what I mean? I feel like I had it. I suppose I haven't done this sort of thing in a while. You know, something stupid. Get some old hammer, they said. It'll be fun, they said. That's how you have to make your own slaughter bases these days. Am I even getting to... Way, we're getting there. Remember kids, knives are dangerous. Like butter, they say, like butter. It looks so bad on the other side. It looks like we've got nowhere. We've come this far. I'm chuffed. I'm chuffed to bits. Look at that. The next thing to do is take one of these arms, and I think I like this long one. We were given a whole bunch, look. Some are the wrong way around, but that's okay. We didn't need them. We can clean this up at least. It's not potentially made of lead. It's just ancient plastic. So I don't mind scraping that up to get it in my bloodstream. Just using the back of the knife. I'm sure every hobbyist knows this one, but you know, never know. Like, wow, what a great idea, or wow, that's terrible, you should get a proper tool. Next thing to do, glue them on here. This stuff is a mess. Let's do the green stuff first. Okay. You get yourself a too big chunk. More green stuff than you need. You need it together. This might not be enough actually. That's the first time in my entire life I've not mixed enough. Green stuff on the bottom. Then we need a bit there and a bit on this one.
I'm VOing this bit because cutting the base sent me into some sort of delirium. We won't hang around on this bit too long, it's just PVA glue and sand. Oh my god. Here we go again, that's the second drop on this poor guy. We'll see if they make it to the end of this, I don't know if they're gonna. You saw him at the start, so you know he did. This box of sand I found in the shed. I have vague recollections of using this when I was maybe 12, so this is old and maybe a bit too fusty, but I used it anyway, so we'll see if anything grows. I'll keep you posted on the socials. Whilst I slap down some base colours on this GW relic, let's talk about their history a little bit. Oh, actually, before we do, I just need to do one thing. Hold on. This.
It's gonna leave a nice scar!
That's better. It turns out Weirdboy Being Fired was born the same year as me, 1990. That makes this guy a Rogue Trader Ork, not a 2nd edition, although I'm sure they were still being fielded by 2nd and beyond. I spent a long time looking for a catalogue entry for Weirdboy Being Fired. Finally I found him, nestled in the pages of White Dwarf issue 126. Look at that cover art. It'd make the bard proud.
Look at the muscularity!
I wish GW still did artwork like this. The whole mag is full of charming photographs of games in action, beautiful artwork and stunning minis. Check out Death Skull Frantic. I'd love him alongside this weird boy. And here's our boy. He cost a whopping £2.99 back in the day. That's about £7.50 in today's money. Not too bad, all things considered. I noticed a second weird boy here, called Weird Boy with Minders. Maybe I can snag him from somewhere too if Gork and Mork are smiling on me. We're just about done with base colours, so let's look at some more interesting fun details on this guy. He's got lots. I had an inner turmoil this entire time, wondering whether or not I was going to use metallic paints. I typically don't use metallic paints. That doesn't mean I'm good at non-metallic metal. Here's some examples. Some are good, some are bad, none are great. But ultimately, I like the cartoony look of trying to do it myself. Here we are, the steel toe caps and the gun are all non-metallic metal, and later on, all the jewellery too, in a lovely shining gold. Kind of. By this point, I was looking for any excuse to do some orky fun, so I did some checkers on this stick grenade. It's probably his favourite stick grenade. And I gave the weird boy himself some lovely white and blue pinstripe trousers, and a gorgeous yellow piping to complement his purple coat. Basically, anywhere I could add some orky details was an absolute blast for me, like painting the white teeth onto the gun, each one denoting probably what an orc thinks wealth is, and later on doing some stripes for the hat. I also gave pretty much every leather item on the 3 orcs a different brown, to really vary the colours amongst the orcs. I think it's a real treat of orcs that they are so ramshackle and bombastic. You don't have to adhere to a colour scheme, although you can, and they look great, but they look just as great if every single thing is a clashing, crazy medley of every paint you own. Speaking of, I think I used 38 paints on this model. I'm not sure you can tell, to be honest. At this point, I'm just focusing down on some of the little details, blocking in some of the gold bits, like these earrings, and also these little bells that are on the end of the coattails. Speaking of bells, look here, look. See, come here. See, in here, this weird fold, that's a bell. It's a bell. I've been wondering this whole time. Let's paint it gold. Here you go, I'm true to my word, painting it in gold. It'll get a nice yellow ink later on. Here's that hat I was talking about in a nice red and white candy stripe. At this point, I was itching to get onto the back plates, so follow me on a freehanding journey and a little explanation as to why each one is coloured the way they are. If it wasn't immediately obvious, or you're not an orc aficionado, such as myself, this is a Bad Moons orc. His friend carrying the lower half of the weird boy is a goth. Bad Moons typically have a moon symbol. I had a good look through an old codex called Here We Go, wonderful name, and the symbols and iconography for the Bad Moons didn't really inspire me, so this is more of a modern one, I think. I could be wrong, please tell me if I'm wrong. It also could just be the Night Goblin symbol and I made a big mistake, but I don't mind, I think it's a really good moon. For the goth, in the book I found this fabulous colour spread of house banners for the goths, and they had this one for Nazgût's goth household boys, and it's some sort of like ox head. I wish I knew more about old old orcs. So I went with that. I thought it was pretty cool, a little bit challenging, so I did it. Now for the Weirdboy, I wasn't sure if the symbol that came with the Weirdboy on the piece of paper was indeed the symbol for Weirdboys, but the friend who supplied me with said orc also supplied me with this. And on here there are two symbols that represent Weirdboys. First you have this crazy little face that looks like Homer Simpson backing into a bush, and the other one is this what he thought was a head with fire coming out the top, but I think is an upside down skull, and that's what I'm going to paint. Seems really easy, but I quite like it. We're into the final stretch now. If you were expecting a comprehensive painting tutorial, I'm very sorry that I didn't give one, but I don't think many people are going to be buying this miniature, so it's not very useful. What I will say though is that I was pretty happy with how he turned out. He's really bombastic, really fun colours, and boy does he stand out. I will give you a little bit of a tip though, if you're painting green skin, I think if you highlight with yellow, so bring up each value a little bit with your brightest yellow, you get a really nice gradient on the skin. Really classic. There's way better ways to paint green skin these days with like purple undertones and all sorts that look really darn good, but this feels really classic to me. I gave the Goth a beautiful mohawk. I do regret it being very similar to the hat on the Weirdboy though, but I don't think I'd change it. It gives me real old Hammer vibes. I had a metal dwarf when I was much younger and I'm pretty certain he had a mohawk in exactly the same vein. Can you imagine a world in which the orcs go around dyeing their mohawks, spending time to do those things, picking out and matching their clan outfits together, getting the crosshatch just right? You don't hear about that kind of stuff, do you? Nor do you hear about orcs having beautiful, beautiful beards. Like this ginger-bearded fellow. He's real garden gnome-esque, isn't he? He's got glowing blue eyes because he's shooting magic right out of his face, as these two very smart orcs figured out. And here's some classic GW tufts. And finally, a proxy goblin green rim. I'm not sure it's quite right, but there you go. And here he is in all his orky Weirdboy goodness. Look at this model, it's amazing. So happy with how he turned out. He's so colourful and fun. He's really awakened a love for classic, charming GW miniatures in me that I didn't know I had. There's something about a metal miniature that's got that weight behind it that feels so good to hold. Speaking of classic miniatures, the one in the Minisodes video are painted by Buried Under Lead on Instagram. He's done a phenomenal job on so many classic miniatures. Just take a look at these. If you haven't seen his stuff, go have a look, it's amazing. And I have to give him big kudos and inspiring me on my orky journey to find Weirdboy Being Fired in the first place. If you're still here at this point, thank you so much for watching. I've had an absolute blast making this video and indeed painting this miniature. I've got some more ideas for some follow-up videos. I've got some classic stuff lying around here and there, and some new things I'd like to paint too. If you enjoyed this video, please do comment, let me know what you enjoyed, what you didn't, or something you might want more of. I'm happy to do whatever. But for now, I think it's time to put this Weirdboy on the shelf and think about our next project. I hope to see you there soon.